There are several Major League Baseball teams that are drafting based on force generation. I like them. That's why I'm doing balls today. Cool. You got some interesting patterns. Not bad patterns, just interesting. Better.
I like how you're talking about using the legs and the coil. How's it going, everybody? Got another vlog coming at you. This is a little bit different than the stuff we normally do. This is us kind of exploring a different side of movement and seeing how it relates to baseball. We hooked up with Fausty Golf in Encinitas. Go check him out. Website should be right here. Instagram is Fausty Golf. Huge thank you to Ryan for having us out and sharing all the information that he could. Hopefully he comes in here one day and we can show him the baseball side of things. So roll the intro.
Just like at home, I love it down here. Let's have some fun today.
I have an opportunity because I've got the force plate.
Oh, we're gonna use it. Yeah, check it out. See if we can put that into like, yeah, because it would be awesome if we could start using some of this stuff. But also, I wanted to see like some of the technology you use and like how you measure all that stuff too.
Because I know we have like a lot. I don't know like how different it is based off like golf and stuff like that. But for us, it's just like the object. It's like the ball itself moving speed and
So
like
swing catalyst, it's not well known yet, but so swing catalyst has a baseball division.
okay.
And there are several Major League Baseball teams that are drafting based on force generation of hitters.
Okay.
Because they're finding out that there are force patterns. So you guys know we generate forces in 3 dimensions, right? So we have a horizontal force, we've got a torque force, which is rotational, and then we have a vertical force that goes along the ground. So you get force graphs and pressure traces and all that type of stuff. So when you have a dominant force in an athlete, that's kind of what they are. It's hard to change your dominant force. But they're drafting and signing free agents based on dominant forces because we know a dominant force or swing catalyst, and I'm not too involved with it yet. They know that based on this dominant force, they're going to be able to hit the slider. They might not be able to hit the curveball, but they're going to be able to hit the slider. Or they're going to be able to catch up to a 1-2 heat.
But they won't be able to.
But they might not be able to get that changer.
Yeah.
Right? Based on the forces. So they're building teams
based off those.
based on what they're seeing off the force plates.
Yeah.
That's it. So they're looking for these numbers
That
off that
number,
force
yeah.
production, right? Obviously, that kind of gets more into like what their body produces versus like how fast they can throw the ball. So it's like a little more like fundamental, I guess. But like that's what we literally tell
Yeah,
them.
the mound thing would be interesting to see what the mound looks like because obviously pitching is not on a flat surface, so it's not this plate probably isn't going to translate too well to pitching, but definitely for hitting.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. Because pitching's a little bit different because like as far as like hitting and golfing, like you're stationary, like you're trying to like rotate out this way, whereas like pitching you have to travel and then rotate, which is like a little bit different. But like
So golf, you're going to get 6 to 9 inches of lateral movement of the pelvis. So you're not completely stationary. Now you're not moving as much as the pitcher.
yeah.
Right.
But there is aspects that can transfer.
Point A to point B.
Yeah, exactly. So you got balance one side, balance the other, rotating, posting on one side, rotating, posting on the other.
Yeah.
Like a lot of that stuff comes into play.
Love it when I find these. I think it's better than any other ball.
Yeah, I like them. I play.
I'm losing balls today.
We'll shake them.
We'll shake them still. We'll shake them. We'll lose them. We'll shake them.
We're gonna find them.
They're gonna be too far. They're gonna be too far.
Oh, pure.
Oh, so pure.
Look at that.
So pure. Get in the hole.
Come on, man. You gotta be more broken than this. You know, make me look better when I fix you.
Oh, you can fix me a knee for sure. At least so there was one point where I got, like, you know, obviously we struggled like for a while. I'm still struggling, but like there was a point where I figured some stuff out, and like I can go full speed with any club. And I was hitting my PitchLogic like 160, 170. You know what I mean? I was smoking my driver. And then I got a PRP shot on my shoulder because I hurt it from throwing. And I took like 2-3 weeks off, and then ever since then, the past like 6-7 times we've gone to range or on the course, I could not hit it. I was like, something great. And then that's when I hit you up. I was like, I gotta figure some stuff out here.
Into that and getting the correct fit. So
I was gonna say, because like you said earlier, like we don't really have like player specific technology. Like it's more so the object, and like that's where I feel like golf kind of separates itself.
Yeah,
it's because like you have all these swing analysis and like things like that.
Are you going to throw a 32-ounce bat on someone who's weak, or are you going to throw a 28-ounce bat?
28-ounce bat.
There are things like that. Bat companies, I've seen that they do seem fittings like this. Well, I saw this one with Julio Rodriguez where like they put like a whole it looked like an animation suit on him. And there's only two, and it's specifically for baseball swings, and they're measuring the bats. Like they have like the thing called BPI on the bats. It makes it like the higher the BPI, the harder it is for swing. Obviously, and they do the balance point on the bat where it's at, and they I think it was Victus that did this, and they did like a bat fitting. Right. Yeah. So ooh, that needs to be more of a thing for baseball players. I know Lisa did that with their metal bats, but like obviously we're now pro players, so we swing wood bats only. So like that needs to be a thing. So so we can see like obviously what our maximum output is and stuff like that. I want to do that with tater bats. Like that's our back that's our
suit
back
system that you're talking about with all the dots on it and stuff.
Yeah, I think something like that.
It's on golf. It's called gears. Sports. So gears. It's like a 50K investment.
Oh yeah, because like we have this thing called hit tracks, right?
Okay.
And the hit tracks like now has like the newer models have a camera somewhat like this, and then they do a side angle and like they'll break it down and based off like your head movement and like shoulder tilt and like all that stuff.
So what we're gonna do here is start. Sorry, this is 7. We're going to gather some data or different under 7 different units. And then we're going to take a look at the camera and then maybe put driver in and see what goes on with that. Okay?
That's what goes on.
Alright, well, we'll see if we can fix that today. Maybe.
That'd be awesome.
Or at least understand why we're doing it.
Yeah, make me that much better than these guys.
Yeah.
I think if we understood the golf swing more, we'd be able to obviously. That's what I kind of like wanted to like understand the golf swing. Like I don't want someone just telling me like, hey, just do this. Like I want to understand why I have to go back and get nice. That's what kind of like people like about our pitching and hitting lessons. Like we make them understand what's going on versus like, hey, just do this.
Like why you want to be doing this instead of that, and like why it makes your pitches more efficient when you do this, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All right, let's say a few here. Yeah, you're athletic. So it sounds pretty good, to be honest. With the movement, pretty good swing playing. The movement patterns are pretty good. The path that you're bringing the club through is fairly consistent. The face is where we're having issues, and so that's why we're seeing the slides. That's why we're seeing some less on that. Let's go one more, and then we'll pull it in the video. Let's take a look at it. Alright, we'll take a look at that one. How about the second?
Yeah, like when I first started, I was big on like wrapping up over my head. So like that move right there, that feels like I'm here.
Welcome to golf. 99% of golfers feel like we stop like right here, but there's so much more activity that happens. And we all want to try to not do that. And it's pretty difficult to stop yourself. Especially when you have the mobility that you have. So your thoracic rotation is pretty good. Shoulder mobility looks pretty good. Okay. So what we're gonna do first, Brady, is we're gonna work down these graphs and really fully understand what's going on with your interaction and what's going on inside the body. So we can't necessarily visually see this. I can make a guess of what's going on, but this is measuring it perfectly for us. Okay, so this is your left foot, this is your right foot, so we're hitting this way.
Yeah.
Okay? This is your pressure on your left side and your pressure on your right side. Toe, heel. Center of pressure, left foot, center of pressure, right foot. Center of mass of the body. And then this gray area is the pressure trace of what's going on as we're moving. Okay? So we're gonna take a look at this. I'm gonna forward and reverse this video a couple times. I'm gonna shut up just as I learn. Cool, we got some interesting patterns. Not bad patterns, just interesting is what we're doing, right?
Yeah.
So I'll explain what I was looking at and everything. So in the golf swing, what we want to do is when we get around this area in the backswing, we want to get our max pressure into our right side. Okay, so at this point, you're at like 77%, which is a really strong load into the right side. Something that we see with baseball players.
Yeah.
It's just we get loaded into that backside.
And like from baseball, I feel like I move the lower half slightly early in the golf swing. So
I don't think that that's a major issue for you.
Sweet.
But yeah, we'll talk about technique a little bit after we get through the force graphs.
Yeah.
On there. When we talk about pressure, do you guys ever teach your players to get on the outside of your feet?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, to kind of forward. Yeah, to move forward.
To move this way?
Yeah.
You want to rotate off.
Because you can't do it from inside because then you'll just break your knee in like that. Versus like if you don't load that, you won't be able to be strong when you go out.
From a pitching perspective?
From a pitching ball and hitting, so just kind of stay on, right? Because like, especially like when it comes to hitting, like if your knees, like we kind of like refer back to like a squat or a deadlift. Like when you squat, like you don't want to have your knees here, you don't have your knee here. So we kind of teach that coil in that way. Like if your knees on the inside, as I said, we're hitting, as soon as we load, like that kind of like pushes us forward. Okay. Right. So we kind of go into that backside, into more the outside. That way you can stay here all day long, especially when it comes to timing and stuff like that.
Kind of
Boom, and that's stronger. And then we're also swinging from right here, like facing here, and then you get more out of it swinging from back here versus like, no, instead of now swinging just from right here. Gotcha. So we get like way more into it. Yeah.
stabilizing the move forward too. So like the difference between hitting a fastball and hitting a curveball, I can sit here on a curveball, but if my weight's on the inside of my foot, I have to go. And that's not
Broke that down front. Cool. So in golf, we don't necessarily want that.
Oh, right.
Okay. So that pattern is definitely ingrained in you.
Yeah.
So when we rotate this back, the reason why with golf that we don't necessarily want to be on the outside and do anything on the outside of the ankle is because this swing coming down, we have so much going on with timing and everything that, and then rotating into this right side, we actually want that coil to be here. We can be a little heel side, but we don't want to go out. When we go out, we lose the base and the coil on that trail side. Okay? So for the golf swing, I'd like to see you stay more neutral or even slightly inside the trail foot as we rotate into that. That's also going to help with us getting too far this way because we're adding this motion, which is not helping our golf swing. We're not getting any benefit out of that extra range of motion because we got to get back here before we actually engage the ground. And so that's going to help us not get too far this way. Okay? So if we can rotate and stay a little bit more centered inside that trail foot, that's the first thing with the pressure trace.
There you go.
That's just for the ball flight or the straight swing curve?
So you start that better, and then when we see the lefts, they usually go through.
Okay. Yeah, and like these are also, for steel shafts, these are pretty pretty light. Introductory lace, whatever came.
Yeah.
Hence the new items.
You're probably gonna get stuff left with those. This is
Yeah, that's the only one that I've gotten kind of aftermarket at least 2004.
yeah. So yeah. You need a little bit.
Oh, I still get behind it.
So this position looks a lot stronger.
Yeah.
To me, right?
Yeah.
We're not on the outside of that ankle.
The
right?
coil felt like I was in a better place to like deliver forward.
Yeah.
For sure.
I love that change there. Okay. So think of it as we're coming through, you're gonna get that pressure into that left, kind of ball a foot.
Yeah.
And then from there, you're gonna like squish, try to push that plate through my concrete floor.
Yeah.
As you come up. And the amount of force that you're putting out of your left leg, you need to continue to put out of your right leg towards the target.
Okay.
Right? Because if we put too much force on the left, we don't match it with the right, we're gonna make that. Right? So match that. Okay? That's it.
Tried it.
Yeah, that's close.
But the power production very rarely like sync to up in almost anything I've ever been doing.
Yeah. So let's talk about it real quick because it's a weight lower and I have a lot. So check this out. The ideal force matchup is that our peak vertical, which is here. So that peak vertical, think of the ground as a trampoline. Okay. What do we need to do to jump high on a trampoline?
Go down.
We need to go down and really push down, and then the stronger we push down, the higher we can jump up. So that's what's happening with the ground reaction force. The harder we go down, the more kinetic energy is going to come back up at us. So that flexion point of us pushing down and coming back up is this peak. Okay? So that's that aspect.
Yeah.
We want to match that with our horizontal, stopping the force of pushing us to the target.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So we want to go down, and as soon as we start to come back up, we actually want to stop moving that way, start moving back this way with our force.
Okay. Now could that be explained as a kind of a way to clear your front hip?
100%.
It's like
That's
the exact same move, just at a different angle. Because I'm like light move forward, strong front foot,
Yeah.
and then this goes against it, and that's what says rotation up.
Okay.
But because of that, you have to go down to the ball. You have to get that rotation to go with that front
Yeah, I
front
was
side.
gonna say, you can't keep turning out of it. You have to go up. Yeah.
Brilliant.
I murdered that ball.
Yeah. I mean, that is a lead body movement right there. That's really good. Okay. So now we just got to clean up our base. And so with this, we got to get rid of the baseball-ish grip. So we're very, very strong.
Single base.
Right?
I think that's also from me not like, I was constant slice on everything for a really long time, and then I kind of figured the irons out, how to close it, and I think that's what
Yeah. So let's set up simple. Okay. I'm just gonna make one adjustment.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're gonna put some pressure. Okay.
Like kind of the heel of my
Yeah.
palm.
Yeah, exactly. Right there. Okay. And then your initial takeaway, you're gonna push through this bone right here. I'm gonna get this takeaway to be.
Okay.
And so when we look back, we see that the club is outside of our hand,
Yeah.
and that club face angle is matching your spine.
Got you.
So this is called P2s in the golf swing. This is the Oates Specialties P2. Okay, so go back to the ball again for me.
Like it's gonna give me a lot more wisdom. Yeah. I hang a pinky on my bat, and I get my bats half an inch long, then like standards like 33 inches on a bat. And that half an inch is massive in the delivery. Sure. So this is kind of right at my hand.
We have like pitchers and hitters, and we play against each other all the time. So whenever like we'll have like best pitches, right?
Oh, yeah.
Best pitches. Like so, my goal as a hitter is not to end up on that best pitches post every single year.
On the highlight reel.
On the pitcher's highlight reel.
Yeah.
How strong is my glove in this?
In terms of like grip strength? Or
Yeah, it's like taking it back through that bone makes me want to.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So basically, just think about pushing that.
Yeah, gotcha.
Just like
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm gonna want to play after this shit. Ooh, that's a crush.
That's so good.
Alright, dude.
That's what we're looking for, right? So the 7-iron carrying 185 and then stop.
Yes.
Not the one that goes 190 in the air and then travels to 205. Because that's the one that we find OB and kind of be short.
Funny enough, that's the flight I get off of like a side hill above me.
Okay.
Like, we just played East Lake the other day, and like, I chunked before hybrid short, and I was on a side hill, and I stuck it, spun back a 7-iron from 185.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you have the club speed. I mean, you talked about that. So you're going to generate the spin and the height on these. So let's go one more with this, and let's put driving in and do
That's awesome.
That's great.
That's exactly what I need as a 7-iron, and I haven't had it for a long time.
Yeah. That's great. Okay, let's get some drivers. It's a ball, Brady. 3 takes.
There's a right.
What's up? You're gonna fall asleep.
You seen what happened there?
Yeah.
Okay, we're 4 degrees out. Path is inside out 0.4, so path is really good on that.
That one just felt like I delivered. I felt it slide off.
Yeah, that is exactly what's happening. So just initially what I'm seeing, so we get to this position pretty darn good. This is just an extension.
Tried to swing hard, so I went to the outside of my foot.
Yeah, so we get a little bit on the outside of that right foot, just like we do with that.
Yeah.
So that's going to be our one takeaway today. Better. Better.
Yeah, I tried to stay more inside.
Yes. That was a lot better. Yeah, that was only 100 yards further than your last shot. And it was a slower clubbing speed.
Yeah, I really wanted to
carries
hit it down.
nicely.
I really wanted to hit down the street, to be honest.
So yeah, 116 club speed, 169 ball speed are like really, really good strikes. That's the feel that I want you to finish. Okay?
But after that one, Taylor will probably get that. I feel like that continuation of the rotation is kind of what we always have trouble with.
Yeah.
It's like people get to that point where they're like, yes, I'm there, but then they just go right out of it instead of like continuing it. Because that's what happens like on the
Some of
throw.
it is hip mobility, some of it is range of motion.
Yeah,
exactly, yeah.
Ownership of strength in that range of motion.
Exactly.
We're at the very end range of motion, and muscles that are pretty small, and we don't
Yeah.
put to very good use.
Yeah, the active range of motion, be able to use it, not just be able to get there, but to be able to have that strength and stability. So, like, you tell these kids the adjustment, especially younger guys in high school, is like I know what to do, right? I know what to do, but like sometimes the body just can't do it, right? So like, so I will give them I do give them a lot of mobility, a lot of stability stuff from there, and like dude, especially with guys in high, this is what dude, this stuff will literally make you swim better.
Yeah, range of motion under stress. So that's why
exactly.
I love these guys.
Under tension.
So these are Oates motion.
Yep.
So these guys have a little bit of tension to them. So when you get into, say, an internal hip rotation, like that's a massive internal hip rotation, and I go even further from that opposite direction right here. So that is putting this massively under tension.
Yeah.
Just enough stress where I'm hurting. Yeah. Like massive. So something you guys should like look at.
See, I was gonna go with
Yeah, you already want to go on the outside.
Okay. Inside of the right foot.
Yeah, you're trying to like.
And you have to land on the bottom. Just rotate the foot.
Not necessarily signals like that. They hurt a bit.
Sound good.
If my hands come through like very down. Yeah.
So think of it as
Yeah.
or even better, when we turn all the way through to this point right here, we're shaking somebody's head. Gotcha. That's kind of this rotation. You don't want it here like this, like that. That's what Did you? We'll take that on the golf course all day long.
Yeah, I haven't hit a fade like that for a while.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Short. Very short. Inside the back foot was huge, for sure. And then once I get slightly more comfortable with that, I feel like the pressure going upwards instead of against was huge too.
Yeah.
And then obviously I'm gonna implement the groove run. That was the best I've felt the club has ever.
Yeah, I was thinking too. I've never. Thanks for something. Good job.
Yeah, that was a blast. Thank you.
Like never even want to come out.
I like how you're
I suck
talking
at golf.
about using the legs and the coil and all this.
I play.
I'm losing balls today.
Tango Shenko.